My name is Solomon. What I'm about to share with you is a shockingly bizarre event. It all began when I met a girl named Naomi while I was searching for a job last year. Little did I know that this encounter would take me down a path of darkness and horror. Naomi was undeniably beautiful, with an alluring presence that drew me in. Her quiet and seductive demeanor had an overwhelming effect on me, and I couldn't help but be smitten. As I continued visiting the unemployment office, I found myself refusing to be attended by anyone else but her. The desire to see her grew stronger with each passing day. One day I finally gathered the courage to ask Naomi out, and to my surprise she agreed. However, she made it clear that it was against regulations for her to get personally involved with a client. But I believe that her willingness to risk her job must have meant that she felt the same way I did. Our first date was a formal gathering at a coffee shop, where I quickly realized that Naomi was an introvert. She had a modest and shy nature, which intrigued me even more. But there was something peculiar about her. Small insect-like tattoos on both her wrists that I didn't pay much attention to at the time. As we went on more dates, I began to notice that we didn't have much in common. Naomi lacked a distinct personality, and I found myself losing interest despite my initial attraction to her. But something wasn't right. Every time I tried to start a conversation, she would abruptly cut me off, insisting that I needed to belong. I didn't understand what she meant, and her vague explanations left me feeling confused and uneasy. Naomi's behaviour took a dark and sinister turn. She became obsessed with the idea of me joining her in strange rituals and getting the same tattoos. But I was repulsed by the desperation she displayed to belong to an unknown group. It was clear that she was not the person I thought she was, and I wanted nothing to do with her disturbing world. One stormy night, everything changed. I had just started a new job, and I was walking home late at night through the pouring rain. On 3 separate occasions, I caught glimpses of Naomi following me. It gave me the creeps, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. My unease turned into sheer terror when she called me, claiming she was locked out of her house and needed my help. From my parents' bedroom window, I could see her standing across the street, even though she insisted she was outside her house. In a panic, I lied and told her I had COVID and couldn't leave the house. Within moments, she hung up, and when I looked again, she had vanished into thin air. For a month, I heard nothing from Naomi, and I began to believe that the nightmare was finally over. But just when I thought I was free, she reached out to me out of the blue, explaining her bizarre behaviour. She confessed to struggling with mental health problems and falling in love with me. She said she had gone off her medication due to the side effects, but was now back on them. Unsure of what to do, I decided to give her another chance. I agreed to visit Naomi at her apartment for dinner, hoping for some clarity and closure. The moment I stepped into her home, a sense of unease washed over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Despite the discomfort, I tried to focus on the present and give Naomi the benefit of the doubt. We sat down for dinner and she seemed surprisingly happy, constantly apologizing for her previous behavior. I reassured her that I was willing to support her through her struggles. As the meal progressed, a sense of unease settled over me again. Naomi excused herself to clear the table, leaving me alone in the dimly lit room. The silence was oppressive, and I began to feel as if I were being watched. The flickering of the candles cast eerie shadows on the walls, intensifying my growing anxiety. Then, without warning, the lights in the lounge began to dim, plunging the room into darkness. Panic surged through me as I strained to make sense of the situation. Whispers filled the air and I froze in my seat. It took a moment for me to realize that the voices were coming from the other room. Curiosity mingled with fear as I slowly rose from my chair and cautiously moved toward the source of the sound. What I discovered in that room would haunt me forever. A large screen displayed a Zoom call with 3 faces staring back at me. But these faces were frozen, their expressions trapped in an unsettling state of anticipation. My name was being called out from the speakers, echoing through the room like a twisted lullaby. Just as the chilling reality of the situation began to sink in, Naomi reappeared. She stood before me, wearing only a silk gown covered with small wet spots. Her eyes fixed on mine with a disturbing mix of anticipation and delight. I watched in horror as she moved toward the center of the room, her back turned to the screen. Time seemed to slow down as Naomi spoke. She said she knew I would understand, her words literally making my skin crawl. And then, with a sudden and violent motion, she took off her gown, revealing a sight that will forever be etched into my nightmares. Naomi's body was covered with multiple tiny snakes, writhing and slithering in a grotesque display. They twisted around her limbs, weaving in and out of her hair, their cold scales glistening in the dim light. I could hardly believe my eyes, my mind recoiling in horror and revulsion. As the snake slithered down her body, the faces on the screen erupted into frenzied cheers, their twisted pleasure filling the room. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare, an unholy union of women and serpent that defied all reason. Fear propelled me backward, and without a second thought, I grabbed my jacket from behind the chair and stumbled towards the exit. The sound of my pounding footsteps echoed through the hall as I rushed out of Naomi's apartment, desperate to escape the nightmarish reality that had consumed me. I never saw Naomi again. It took months to recover from the trauma, to come to terms with the inexplicable horrors I had witnessed. Some things are simply beyond comprehension, beyond the realm of rational explanation. To this day, I am haunted by the memory of that night. The image of Naomi, her body intertwined with serpents, remained etched in my mind, a testament to the existence of terrors beyond our understanding. And it serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the people we think we know are not who they appear to be.